With little time to spare, Congress resolved the debt ceiling standoff before the federal government would have been forced to default on its obligations for the first time in history. But even as the nation breathes a collective sigh of relief, some say the New Deal doesn't change America's uncertain long-term fiscal outlook. The legislation that suspends the debt ceiling through early 2025 is called the Fiscal Responsibility Act. But that name could be viewed as ironic given how little some say the new law does to improve the nation's long-term fiscal outlook. Economic uncertainty means you have to keep up with what's happening. Make sure you subscribe and we'll keep you in the know. The good news is that the new law keeps non-defense discretionary spending largely flat this year, and in fiscal year 2024, spending can increase by only 1% over present levels. The ink was barely dry on the Fiscal Responsibility Act when at least a few analysts began calling out the new law for not doing enough to rein in gross federal debt, a federal debt now closing in on $32 trillion. According to analysis by David Lauder and Andy Sullivan of the news agency Reuters, the hastily written debt ceiling deal staves off a devastating U.S. default, but does little to slow a massive buildup of total federal debt, now on pace to exceed $50 trillion in a decade. Lauder and Sullivan noted that the new law's spending cuts address only non-defense discretionary spending, which accounts for no more than about 1/7 of the $6.4 trillion budget for fiscal year 2023. In another assessment of the deal, Dennis Ippolito, a public policy professor and fiscal expert at Southern Methodist University, didn't mince words, saying, "If you're worried about the deficit and debt problem, this thing does nothing." In recent months, the Congressional Budget Office and the Treasury Department have referred to America's long-term fiscal outlook as unsustainable. Most would agree it's good news that the debt ceiling standoff is resolved. But it appears the country's fiscal future can be seen as unsustainable now as it was before the debt deal. Bottom line, the debt ceiling was resolved. But as many see it, our fiscal future remains uncertain. That's why I suggest you take the time to learn more about what's really going on in the economy by attending our exclusive one-on-one web conference at AugustaPreciousMetals.com/webconference.